Oh, hello, and how you doing? I thought I'd share with you tonight another um, Legends from Ireland story by the book Sean O'Sullivan, and his terrific uh, piece of literature that strings together a lot of, probably not all, but a lot of Irish folk stories and history. And I wanted to share this one with you because I thought this was a bit special. We all like a Robin Hood character or an anti-hero, and this one in particular uh, leapt out at me. And this gentleman, and I think we can call him a gentleman, probably quite possibly a gentleman highwayman, to say the least, by the name of James Freney. And we'll have a little old listen now of what the story is. As I said earlier, it's from the book Legends from Ireland by Sean O'Sullivan. Well worth a purchase. I'm sure you can get it on World of Books or eBay for a couple of quid. And it's set in where my ancestors actually come from. Well, part of where they come from, and that's County Wexford. And it's set in the scenes round there. So it reads like this, and it is a truly terrific story. And it says, in his young days, Freney was a stable boy for some big gentleman in County Wexford. One day, a land agent came to visit the gentleman. He had been out gathering the rent all day and had a big bag of money with him. He stayed with the gentleman until night. Feeney brought his horse around to the hall door for the agent when he was about to take his departure. The gentleman of the house came out to the hall door with him. "If I were you, I wouldn't venture home tonight," said he to the agent. "'Tisn't safe these times to be travelling at night with money." The agent only laughed at him. He produced a pistol and says he, "Where is the man will rob me while I have this?" Well, quite a statement that is. A single shot flintlock. My word, and you've got to make it hit and count. If you don't, or it misfires, then you're in shtuck then, I can tell you. So, continuing back to the story, "Where is the man that will rob me while I have this?" referring to the flintlock. He mounted his horse anyway, and off he goes. Freeney said to himself that he would see what the agent was made of. So he got another horse out of the stable and took a short cut through the fields. He was not, he, I beg your pardon, he was at a lonely part of the road before the agent. He got an old cabbage stump then and waited for his man. When the agent came along, Freeney stepped out onto the road in front of him and ordered him to hand over all he had. Faith, he did quickly. The agent gave him his flintlock pistol and turned back towards the gentleman's house again. Freeney went back the same way again, and he was in time to attend to the agent's horse when he arrived at the hall door. As soon as the agent arrived, the gentleman came out to the hall door. "What's wrong?" he asked. "I was robbed," said the agent. You had right to take my advice and stay here for the night," said the gentleman. "They wouldn't have robbed me," said the agent, "but there were too many for me. There were about 50 of them." Freeney was listening to this going on, and he couldn't stick it anymore. Hearing all the lies the agent was spinning, so he withdrew the wallet out of his pocket and gave it to the agent. "Here's your money," says he, "and here's what I robbed you with," showing him the cabbage stump. Both the agent and the gentleman sent for the police on the spot, but Freeney took to his heels and got away. This is how Freeney came to be a highwayman. One day he came along to a little house on the side of a hill. He went in, and there was an old man sitting by the fire. He asked if he would let him sit by the fire for a while, as the day was cold. The old man said he could, and welcome. So he sat down, and the two talked and chatted for a while. It wasn't long until Freney noticed that the old man was gloomy and depressed over something with his head down over the fire. "What's wrong with you, my good man?" said Freney. "I'll tell you," says the old man. "The landlord is coming here tomorrow for the rent, and I haven't the money for him. I'll be thrown out." "Cheer up," says Freney. "Tell me who is the landlord." The old man told him. Freney then asked him how much was the rent. When the old man told him, Freney put his hand in his pocket, counted up the money, put it into an envelope, and handed it to the old man. "Take this now, and I go up to the landlord with it," says Freney. "I'll wait until you come back." The old man was delighted and set off with 2 hearts to the landlord's house. He went in to the landlord. "I'm glad to say I've come to you with the rent, sir," said he. "Where did you get it?" asked the landlord. "A man came into the house and gave it to me," says the old man. "What kind of a man was he?" The old man described him. "Here," says the landlord, "take back this money. I'll forgive your rent this time." The old man came back delighted with himself. "Well," says Freney, "how did you get on?" "Oh, fine, entirely. He asked me where I got the money, and I told him. Then he asked me to describe you to him, and when I did, he gave me back the money and said that he'd forgive me the rent this time." "You may bet he didn't take it," said Freney. "He knew well, if he did, that he'd lose 10 times as much." The old man was giving him back the money then. "Keep it, my good man," says Freney, "and buy things that you'll want for yourself and the children." Freney always had a home there after that, if he was tired or if he was wanted to hide from soldiers. An interesting Robin Hood kind of story, and there's a footnote after it, and it says, "For an account of the exploits of Freney the robber in the middle of the 18th century, see the life and adventure of James Freney, supposedly written by himself in 1856." And it's part of another book called The Highwayman in Irish History. I mean, it's a terrific story that there's a deterrent out there on the road, not quite legal, I must admit, but nonetheless probably morally correct. So yes, look, I thought I'd share that with you. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much for listening again, and I'll play you out with a bit of Reeva's Gallows and the Privateer's Defeat.